Shalom uvracha, everybody. This week's parsha is a double one. It's Chukat Balak. We read two parashiyot and we add them together. Chukat is talking about a lot of things. It begins with discussing the red heifer, the red cow, which was unblemished, which needed to be burned and mixed for the process of purifying someone who had come impure by contacting, God forbid, a dead body, a corpse. Why did they have this? This was in the times of the temple, where purity and impurity were a very important thing, especially someone going to the temple, which was God's house on this earth, so they needed to be pure. God calls this law a chukah, something that doesn't necessarily make sense. There's laws that make sense to us that even if God didn't command us, we would probably do it, like don't murder, don't steal. We don't need God to tell us that's wrong. Then there's laws which are above rational, and this burning of the red heifer is one of those that it doesn't necessarily make sense. By us doing these things that in a way don't make sense to us, we're able to reach a higher level in our relationship with Hashem, because we're going beyond our rational intellect and beyond the things that only make sense to us. And in this way, our relationship is becoming more full and whole. After this discussion of the red heifer, the Torah talks about the passing of Miriam, Moses' sister, and it jumps, basically the Torah jumps chronologically from the beginning of their 40 years in the desert towards the end of the 40 years of the desert. And it says that the passing of the righteous is kind of like this red heifer, which brings atonement. When the righteous pass, it brings atonement for the world, because we're losing, in a sense, physically at least, we're not seeing that person, and we're losing someone of great and immense value, and this brings atonement for the world. And the next Parasha, Balak, this is the famous story of a king named Balak who hired Bilam, who was one of these sorcerers, a prophet who God had communicated with, but he was a prophet who was not such a holy man and righteous man. God just chose him to kind of make an even level playing field. And Bilam is trying to curse the Jews, even though he knows it's against God's will. And in the end, he ends up just blessing the nation. And one of the most powerful prayers that we have, Ma tovu ha'olech Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael, how good are your tents, Jacob, your dwelling places, Israel, was recited by Bilam in this week's parasha, teaching us that timeless lesson of things that may seem like a curse, things that may seem like the opposite of a blessing. In the end, if we can maintain our focus and not get shaken, those things themselves will turn into a blessing. But we need to have the resolve and the strength to be able to see things through and not get dismayed by our losses and seeming setbacks, and be able to stay the course, and then everything we will see is for the good. Shabbat Shalom Mevorach. May God bless you all, and all the best.